Now we can go to Barnaby Joyce, the former Deputy Prime Minister of Australia. Barnaby, thank you for joining me. First of all, you've been quite vocal in recent days. What do you make of both the events that occurred here in Bondi and the government's response to anti-Semitic threats prior to this terror attack?
Well, if I take them in seriatim, what happened here in Australia, for all those, many of your viewers who visited Australia, is completely at odds with what Australian culture is. I think we have to make a clear statement that the idea of sort of multiculturalism that absorbs everything and accepts everything and allows everything to play out is anathema to the unity of purpose of what a nation needs. You need a unity of purpose. You need predominantly, overwhelmingly in Australian culture. It has guardrails, and if you work outside those guardrails, that is completely unacceptable and will be enforced and stopped. And what would be outside those guardrails? Well, if at a certain mosque where there's a fundamentalist view, where things are preached, where they actually state the form of hate and wanting that it's acceptable to kill people, well, that is unacceptable. It's unacceptable in Australia. It should be unacceptable around the world. It is not saying that you have an issue with Islam. It's just like if you had a fundamentalist, I don't know, Christian church which preached the same, you say that is unacceptable in Australia. You can't do that. Now, this has got a head of steam in the second instance of your question, because people allowed protests to continue on and they weren't decisively dealt with. We had people on the front of the Opera House saying "Gas the Jews." We had people who were clearly inflaming the situation. We had the usurping of protests of closing the harbour bridge for a protest at which there were ISIS banners, Hamas banners, Hezbollah banners, which reinforced the view amongst those who could be affected by that their views were in the prominence and they could continue on with that process. We're still in Australia, as we speak, right now. Hizb ut-Tahrir, and I probably got that pronunciation incorrect, I don't care because I don't like them, and the Islamic Brotherhood are still legal. This is an absurdity. And because Australia has this live and let live attitude, easy going, she'll be right, mate, that's part of our culture. But unfortunately, after the weekend, that's got to change, because it's not going to be right, mate, and it's not easy going. People are turned up, organised, inspired for the wholesale murder of people at Bondi Beach.
Mr. Joyce, we only have a very short time left on the program. I want to ask you, we heard from the leader of your party, One Nation Party, Pauline Hanson, earlier this week saying that certain countries should not be allowed to migrate here. Where do you stand on this? She has previously called for a ban on Muslim migration. Where do you stand on that?
If you have a section of the world which is in such flux as there is an excessive number of people who turn up who have a different worldview to what Australia has, well, then that's incompatible with Australia. And you've got to make hard decisions if you want proper outcomes. Where they're heading is they're going to go out to the farmers, I believe, and start banning their capacity to use firearms. There were no farmers murdering people on the weekend. No gun clubs.
We have a very short time left on the program, Mr. Joyce. Mr. Joyce, I'm sorry, we have a very short time left on the program. In just a sentence or two, could you say whether or not you do support a ban on migration from Muslim countries?
I do support that people from a section in a state of flux, as I said, who if are not properly have no proper overview over them, cannot come into Australia.